Well, welcome to Cover 2 TV. The draft has taken place last weekend over in America, in Philadelphia, no less. It's been an exciting weekend. We're here to talk about the AFC East, so we'll be talking about the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Bills, and, of course, the New York Jets. So we're going to get straight into it. Patriots, they won the division last time out. Couple of trades in the build-up to draft day. How do you think they did?
Yeah, if you evaluate the Patriots draft as a whole, you do have to consider those trades as well, because they give picks away for the likes of Connealy. They give picks away for
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks. They give picks away for tight end Dwayne Allen. They also give one for Mike Gillislee. So they lost a lot of picks. So I think they only ended up picking, 4 players? The 4 players they got, I thought the 2 were absolute steals in Derek Rivers and Garcia, the lineman. I expected them to go much higher. So yeah, the Patriots do it again, don't they? The off-season, absolutely fantastic. They're a better team now, I think, than the one that's just won the Super Bowl. And you can't get much further than that, can you? Know what I mean? In terms of, they've used their pick on established players, which, you know, it's fairly new. Not a lot of teams are trading that many players for picks, but they were happy to give their picks away. Yeah. And like I say, I think in Rivers and Garcia especially, they got 2 very good players.
Yeah, I think Garcia, there's a lot of talk in the media, isn't it, about him being a developmental talent, and look at what Bill Belichick and the coaches there are going to do with him. I mean, for me, I think it's pretty obvious when you see some of the tape that he is just that, but he's a little bit raw, but it might not be a pick for now, it's a pick for the future as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've had O-line issues a little bit all last season. It wasn't better. They got a great offensive line coach, Dante Sinecchia, I think his name is. Fantastic, and he come back and he sorted their line out. And like I say, Garcia, I agree, he's raw, but he's got the physical tools. He just needs a bit of refinement, and he'll get the time to do that in New England. And the good thing about New England's offensive line is it doesn't have to hold up for over a couple of seconds, because Tom gets the ball so quickly and it's out. You have to just be able to do your initial job. You know, your initial punch or your initial push on the running plays, and it's there for you. So I think that'll be good for him to, you know, you'll be able to pick that up pretty easily. They'll be fine.
That's it. And we look at Rivers as well. You know, there's a guy who adds depth to their chart, doesn't it, ultimately?
He offers them, the Patriots, he offers them a pass rush. They don't really have that much of a pass rush now. They let Chandler Jones go, for example, who is probably the best pass rusher. They let a few defensive players go, like I say. He brings him in. Again, he's raw. He is raw, but he's a talent. I thought he would go higher. You know, was it round 3?
83rd pick.
Yeah, I thought he'd go higher. I thought he'd be a late second. So to get him, you know, almost the bottom of the 3rd. Again, other teams maybe saw something I didn't, or vice versa, didn't see what I saw. But I thought he was a good player. I was surprised he was there for them. And when I was watching it, and when he felt them, I was like, it's just typical Patriots, isn't it? And, you know, they do all this wheeling and dealing, and they still end up with a very, very good player.
Guy that they want. And as you say, he does give them a pass rush, and it's probably more of a 3rd down pass rush for me than anything else. So we'll move on now. You know, second in the division last time out, Miami Dolphins. Yeah. I'm right in saying, I'm just going to check the stats. 5 of Miami's 7 picks went on defense.
Yeah, it needed to be. That's what let them down ultimately last year, wasn't it? And in Charles Harris, again, he's another player I quite like. Again, gives you that pass. They're another team. They're getting old in the pass, so they've got, you know, older pass rushers. They needed to freshen that up, and if that's what they're going to base their team on, then by all means, you know, get a young lad in. He doesn't have to play all the time, and he'll develop into he's a really good player. I was surprised again that I think it was late 20s, wasn't it, where he fell to. Good player, really good player. And then,
so we've got the picks here. We've got pick 22, obviously Charles Harris. Pick 54, Raquan McMillan. Linebacker Kudria Tinkersley. Cornerback Isaac Asiata is quite an interesting one at offensive guard, isn't he?
Again, it's a project. It really is. Miami's line's pretty good, to be honest. He'll be there to add depth. I don't think he's going to be a starter at all. But he's a good player. But he's raw again, so I think he's more your backup, you know, your almost your swing guard. Maybe he'll cover a few positions, and he'll be a development player. And then, I say, the later round picks, they're probably just filling your depth chart out a bit, aren't they? But if you go back to Harris, he's basically he just gets to the quarterback. That's his job. You know, I think he'll play. Obviously, he'll play on the outside line as an outside linebacker on the outside defensive line. He'll be really good. I've got no issues with him.
I think the thing with him is he's versatile. He's a big, strong, athletic guy, and he'll fit in well there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I 100% agree.
So we'll move on to the Buffalo Bills. Really interesting trade to start this one off, actually. You know, no Patrick Mahomes for them. They dropped 17 places in the draft. Take at number 27, Tre'Davious White, the cornerback.
Again, I'm surprised he was there at 27. It was a good move for Buffalo.
They'll have been made up.
It's a good move for Buffalo. They need to acquire talent on their team, you know what I mean? They're not a very talented team, so they get a first next year and a third this year, which ultimately they used again. But I'm surprised Tre'Davious White was there. I think he's again, we mentioned it on
he's
the
a top
previous
3
show.
corner in that draft, I think.
Yeah, at least he's definitely up there, mate. You know, and he's just productive. At the end of the day, he's productive. He brings... I was surprised that they were willing to let Stephon Gilmore go. I thought maybe they weren't prioritising corner, but obviously they are, because they went and took one. And then in the second round, they get Zay Jones.
Yeah, wide receiver.
And Zay Jones is really good.
Yeah.
Zay Jones is a top player. Again, they needed wide. I drafted in our mock. I drafted them a receiver in the first round. By the time they got number 10, they were all gone anyway, the top 3. And maybe that was part of the reason maybe they did trade down, because there wasn't one there.
What I find interesting about these 2 picks is I think they've got week 1 starters in both of them there.
Yeah. Oh,
and I think that's always a good barometer of where we stand in a draft class.
Absolutely. I mean, Zay Jones shot up draft boards. You know, he wasn't that talked about throughout the college season, really. And he's just, you know, up and up and up and up. When you come from East Carolina, you can imagine you're not going to get much national coverage. But then obviously as the draft process goes on, people realise just how good he is. And I get, the 2 day 1 starters for sure. And it takes the pressure off Sammy Watkins a little bit as well, doesn't it? It was pretty much him or nobody over there. Gives Tyrod the body to aim, another body to aim for, and he's a really, really good player.
You just mentioned Tyrod Taylor. They drafted actually in, I think it's the 4th round, Nathan Peterman. Now he's a potential starter in year 1 or year 2.
The thing with Nate Peterman, I thought he'd go higher. So obviously NFL teams saw something we didn't. He's the backup option, I think. I think they want Tyrod to work. I just don't think they're convinced by Tyrod. Yeah. Tyrod will win the job. He'll play this season. And then they've got the opportunity to decide whether they want to go again with him. A lot of people thought Peterman might be a 2nd round pick and push an established starter for their job. He's got every chance in Buffalo. The only thing is they've also got Cardell Jones on their roster. So at the minute, Peterman's QB3, isn't he? I think he's good. His issue is his arm. He hasn't got a good arm. His arm.
That's a problem when you're in Buffalo. It's windy, it's rainy. Yeah. You need a little bit of arm strength, but you can look back and go, Tom Brady coming out the draft, his arm wasn't built, you know, what NFL teams wanted, and look what he turned out to be. So there's question marks certainly, and I think people are right to question this pick. But ultimately, things can change. You can grow into your body a little bit more. You can work. Yeah, he's
a good young. I thought he was better than where they got him. I think it's good value at 4. I don't know at the minute. He's very much a backup, isn't he, at the moment, and we'll see how he goes from there.
Yeah, and it was round 5, pick 28, 171. So
good value.
Very good value. And finally, the New York Jets then.
Love Jamal Adams. Yeah. Absolutely love Jamal Adams. He kind of fell into their lap a bit because nobody was expecting the, you know, running back, well, quarterback at 2. Obviously, we'll talk about that when we get to the NFC North part that we're obviously video, that one we're very excited to talk about, me and you. And then the likes of Mike Williams going ahead of them and stuff like that. Corey Davis. It was like 6, perfect for them, absolutely perfect. And Jamal Adams 4s and the Jets go, thank you very much. We'll take that every time.
The Jets took a strategy, didn't they? They went, and it's much like the same one that you did for your much of best player available, and you can't fault the Jets for what they've done in that regard. They're
that bad. Genuinely, I don't mean this to offend Jets fans, but the roster was that poor. That's what they had to do. It reminded me when Leonard Williams kind of fell to them last time out, where things just happened and everyone fell and there's Leonard Williams sitting for you at 5. The kind of the exact same thing happened with Jamal Adams. Yeah. I thought he'd be well off the board by 6, or you know, he wasn't. I thought at first when I saw Chicago go up 1, maybe they're targeting Jamal Adams. I thought he could have went 2. So from to 4 to the Jets at 6.
And this is the thing, they've got Marcus Gilchrist already, the Jets, so it's a good safety tandem that. And then they doubled down, didn't they? Because they got Marcus May with their next pick, another talented safety.
Yeah, and there's thought that they might be trying to get rid of Calvin Pryor, do a deal for him or something. It makes sense, I suppose. Marcus May, yeah, very, very. And again, underrated. All they've done, the Jets, they know what the score is now. You know, Todd Bowles, a defensive coach, he knows what we're going to do. Well, let's do what I do well. Yeah. Stack my defense up and we'll kind of work around the offense. The offense this year isn't going to be great anyway. We know that there's no quarterback, there's not much going on. I'll be honest, the line's been decimated. Wide receivers, yeah, they had another injury recently, haven't they? So they've gone defense now, and it makes sense. You know, build what your strength is, go and do what you know best. And they've got 2 day 1 starters probably, and.
Gilchrist is there, definitely. He's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, they're definitely in the rotation, aren't they? And they've done what they had to do. They've got good players. The thing is, to be honest, they couldn't have got much worse because I think it's one of the worst rosters. It was one of the worst rosters. The good thing I like is that they didn't bottle it and go quarterback because
it's easy to do.
It's easy to do. They took Christian Hackenberg last year, and you know, whatever you think about him, you've got to at least give him a go now. You've got to, if you take a guy in round 2 last year, you've got to at least get him on the field at some stage. Yeah. So Josh McCown will start, and then at some stage, I expect to see Christian Hackenberg somewhere along. You've got to see it, and if, you know, worst case is he's a bit rubbish, and Jets fans might not like this. They might be rubbish again this season, and next year in a much stronger quarterback draft, you've got, you know, Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen who look like they're going to be. At this stage, you know, things might change throughout the year, but they look like they could be number 1, number 2 type picks.
You ready to do your mock draft again?
Next year, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be fine. I could do one now. I could have needed to. They're going to be right up there. So, and next year, you think who could hit free agency next year? Jimmy Garoppolo might hit free agency. Kirk Cousins might hit free agency. There's going to be better quarterbacks out there than now. So I'm in a way, I'm glad the Jets didn't feel the need to do.
Well, they've not reached, and ultimately, as I said at the top of this section, they've gone best player available, and I think that's the right call for the Jets at this moment in time.
Absolutely.
Listen, and we talked about options for quarterback for next season. They could have a legitimate tight end in Leggett as well. You know, they drafted him late on, and they picked up 2 wide receivers. So all in all, you know, I think people have been a little bit up and down on the Jets, but for me personally, I think it's been a decent draft for them.
Yeah, listen, mate, they've got better players. I say Jamal Adams is an absolute star. He's an absolute star. He's going to be brilliant for them. It's what they needed. They haven't got enough blue chip players. He's definitely, well, if he pans out how he plays in college, he'll be a blue chip player. He's a stud. So it was a great pick. They must have been, you know, laughing their heads off when he fell to them. I'll say I'm really happy he didn't go quarterback. I think it was a good draft for them. Yeah,
okay, final question of the show then. Who wins from the draft class from today? And I know it's ridiculous, but everybody loves to know who's winners and losers from these draft classes. So for you, best draft class from this division.
Are we including the Patriots trades?
Yeah,
then it's the Patriots by far. They've had an amazing, you know, I say Coney Ely is going to be brilliant on that line for them. Dwayne Allen's going to be great for them. Brandon Cooks is going to be fantastic. And I think Derek Rivers and Garcia will develop into starters. So, sorry, it's a bit boring to say the Patriots because they do everything well, but yeah, I think they
I agree with that, so I don't want to trample on your toes or anything there, but does this draft class change anything in the trades in the off-season, change anything moving into this season? The order last year, I think, was Patriots, Dolphins, Bills, Jets. What's the order going to be this season?
I'd go with that again, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's about right. And Miami were a playoff team. We shouldn't forget that. Miami, they got the wild card. I'd always back the Patriots in this division with anyone. With Tom Brady playing, I'll back them all the time. I think the Bills could close that gap on the Dolphins. The Bills are somewhere in the middle. Miami got better, which is good for them because they need the, you know, you're chasing the Patriots all the time, aren't you? You're just always trying to get to them. It's almost impossible. But if you can get yourself second in that division, you're probably going to get a wild card, and they'll be better equipped to go into the playoffs.
Having played the Patriots a couple of times.
And also, you know, the Steelers just had their way with them. It was too easy for the Steelers. And I know the Dolphins had the backup playing quarterback, but even then, it was just too easy. The Steelers just scored points too easily. So Miami improved the defense. I think they'll be a playoff team again. I mean, again, very, very early on. But I think Dolphins have got themselves in the wild card mix for sure. And Buffalo will be there as well. Yeah. The Jets are going to be terrible. The Jets are going to be poor.
I think for me, nothing changes in this division. Much like what Steve said there, it's going to be the same order as last year. The Bills might move a little bit closer to the Dolphins, but that's about it. And if the Jets gain any headway, then they'll be happy with that because it's a multi-year project. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like on it, of course. Subscribe to Cover 2 TV on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. Get involved in the show by leaving your comments in the comment section below. We'll be in the comment section ourselves after the video goes live, replying to your comments. And if you've got any pointers, then let us know them as well. Thanks very much for watching. From me, from Steve, goodbye.
Ta-da.